herself that humiliation, thank you very much. The only thing worse than having a crush on her brother's best friend while growing up had been the possibility of acting on it and being rejected. As she surely would have been. Clay had never shown the slightest interest in her in that way. He'd always treated her like an annoying little sister. "Give me the shovel," he said, and his long arm reached around and closed over hers on the black handle. Megan ignored the automatic zing that raced down her limbs at the contact and pulled the implement out of his grasp. "What are you doing?" His response was to grip her shoulders and turn her around. She looked up, a long way up because Clay was over 6 feet tall and she came in at a measly 5'5". She couldn't help the thrill that coursed through her at his nearness. Coursed through every part of her body save one. On the right side of her chest she felt nothing, because there was nothing there. This was so not how it was supposed to go. Clay Gregory and the cancer were in the past. She wished she could just forget about them both. But both had left their indelible mark, no matter how hard she tried to move past them. "What was Dawson thinking, letting you do this?" he demanded, the line between his brows now a deep crater above his nose. She pulled away and lifted her chin, not like it would make her any taller, but it made her feel better. "Dawson doesn't let me do anything. He's not the boss of me." Great. That made her sound, 10 years old? She glared at him as best she could. She hadn't come back to Larch Valley just so people could start bossing her around and treating her with kid gloves. "I've been mucking out stalls since I was a kid, Clay. If you want to see Dawson, he's up at the house. Let me get back to work." Her snappish words seemed to take him back a bit, as the line eased, but the concern still rested heavy in his eyes. "Are you sure you should be doing heavy labor, Meg? You shouldn't do too much, and what?" she finished for him. What did he think would happen? There were no more stitches to pop. She wasn't going to collapse at his feet. "Shoveling, you know what, is hardly heavy labor. I think I know what I can and can't handle," she replied. But she softened her tone a bit. There was no sense in arguing. "I'm fine, Clay. I'm all better now, good as new." It was a lie, but it would be the truth soon enough. Granted, there were still lingering issues since her treatment. Twinges that happened at the oddest times. Fatigue. Then there was the issue of her scars. They would never go away, but the rest would be cured by time and working to get stronger. "Farm work is exactly what I need." Megan Briggs had been just about as low as she ever cared to get, but that was over now. Breast cancer hadn't beaten her, she'd beaten it. Now it was time to reclaim her life. She had ideas, good ones. And if she wanted her family's support, she had to first prove to them that she wasn't going to fall apart at any moment. They needed her. And while the past year couldn't have been helped, she was determined to keep the Briggs Ranch on its feet. If people kept tiptoeing around her like she was breakable, how on earth was she ever going to make it happen? But she wasn't about to give up, and so she tightened her hands around the shovel, prepared to resume her work. Clay's response was to retrieve another shovel from beside the door. Megan looked up at him and wasn't sure if she was flattered or insulted at his obvious caring. She decided insulted. It was easier that way. "I can do this," she repeated, feeling a silly urge to stamp her foot. She did not. She merely stared at him as he took the stall next to her and dug in. "Clay, I said I've got it." "Shut up, Meg," he said mildly, igniting her temper even further. It would serve him right if she walked out and let him do them all, she thought. But that wouldn't help her cause one little bit. She needed everyone to see she was fine. Same old